Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Remember to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Don't forget our challenge this month. We're trying to get as many people to subscribe as possible. And while we're at it, let's try to get this video to 100 likes. Make sure to tell everyone you know about this video and my channel, and without further ado, let's get started. Here you guys is a list of what we already learned so far in the last two videos. Now the first video that I made was an intro on brush pens, and the second one was the beginning of how to brush letter. Just in case you don't recall that video, look up in the eye and you should see that link right now. Now let's move on to what we will be learning today. Now in case you don't notice, and don't worry about this spot right here, that's just something I messed up on. In case you don't notice, we have these three letters listed right here. Now what do you see in common with these three letters? They all have the same belly shape. Here, here, and here. Today I'll be showing you how to master drawing that belly shape effortlessly. Now let's learn how to do that shape. First thing you need to know is this is not an easy shape to master, so before using a brush pen, Crayola marker, or anything you might use to brush letter, just use a regular marker, thin or fine. Sorry, I meant to say thin or fat, but thin or fine is good too. Now how you do this shape, it's not very difficult. All you have to do is make a starting point. Now as you can see, I drew a little dot right there just to help you realize where I am starting. Next, you'll just do your starting point. You'll go up a little bit, down like a belly, and back up. It's okay if your line coming back up passes the initial starting point. That is completely normal. Now we'll practice again. Up, down, curve, up. Remember that anytime you are doing a letter that involves this shape. Sorry, something dropped. Up, down, curve, up. And we'll practice over and over again. There are also worksheets online that you can print for this, if you want to. Remember and take note that this is a regular marker, not anything special like Crayola or a brush letter marker. Now I have already done this exercise before, so I don't have many copies. I just did it to show you guys. But it may take a little bit longer for you guys to keep practicing, so keep on practicing and practicing until you get the perfect loop shape. In case you can't tell, I circled this specific shape. This shape is an example of what's really good for your lettering. Now, it may take you a little longer to practice this if you are an absolute beginner, but if you're ready to move on, then let's move on. The next step is to add your Crayola marker or a brush pen to it. Now, first thing you're going to do is choose a shape that you've done. I'm going to choose this one that I really like. And what you're going to do is use your brush pen or Crayola marker and just make it thick where you know it needs to be. This will give you a little idea at least of what your thing is supposed to look like. Keep in mind that this is not exactly what it should look like, as you did not brush letter and you added it afterwards. In case you guys didn't catch that, this is what it looks like after I added my brush to it. I would also like you to take note that this gap is not closed, so you should not be closing this gap. There should be at least a little space between it. By the way, be sure to check out my sister's channel. It's called Rapid Readers. You can be featured on one of her videos as well. Now we are actually going to do the brush. Now, this might seem difficult at first, but eventually you'll get the hang of it, I promise. All you have to do is do the exact same motion we did with our regular marker. Go up a little, and it's okay to stop and keep picking up your pen. That's what brush lettering is all about. Come up a little, down, make a loop, and come back up. Now at first you might have no gap in between your space, but that's totally fine if you're a complete beginner. This will be difficult to master at first, but after a while you'll get the concept of coming up a little, then coming down. Keep in mind that if you have a brush pen, it will be harder for you to learn as opposed to the people who have Crayola markers, as a brush pen moves and bends like a paintbrush. Make sure to not be too harsh on your brush pen and be very, very gentle. After you're done practicing, you should eventually get to a shape that you really like. I'm going to circle mine so you can see which one I'm talking about. The one that you see with the arrows pointing at it, that is the one I'm talking about. That is the one that I've just done with brush. Now I know this may look a little weird and wonky right now, but trust me, once you get to the full shape and full letter, you'll understand. Now we're going to move on to the absolute letter. Because this might be getting a little confusing right now, I'm going to continue in blue. In case any of you are wondering, yes, I am using the back of the paper that I just showed you. This is the shape I have, and now I'm going to add on. Now, this is an option for those of you who feel really uncomfortable with brush lettering. You can just take your shape and use the regular marker and just make a line down and up, just in case you want to practice that tail. But that usually doesn't take much practice, as you can master it very easily. This is what an A looks like with its brush lettered tail, but let me show you how to do that. Now let's review. With the A, we did up, come down, back up, and then we did the tail. You guys can keep practicing this, as some people feel like they just can't get it right after a couple times. But don't worry, there's no wrong way to do art, and it's most likely this won't be too difficult for anyone. Again, just for you to follow along, you go up very lightly, down, still gently, but it's bold, back up, pick your pencil up, or brush pen I should say, and then bring it back down with the tail. One mistake that a lot of you are probably making, and sorry, these are two mess-ups, but one mistake that a lot of you are probably making is doing this. Instead of coming in a shape where you make kind of a pointed belly at the bottom, you do this. You come up, like how you're supposed to. You come down, like you're supposed to, but then instead of making a pointed belly, you keep going around in a circle and then coming back up. And then you think that your A doesn't look good because it's too round. The whole object of the game is to get it as pointed as possible. I'm not saying to make your belly come to a point, but I'm saying kind of have it at an angle. This is not a perfect example, but at least I think you know what I'm talking about. Make sure to keep practicing your A's, and eventually you'll get it. Bye for now.